recently I came across a video about a talk at Google about the Ask of Asking by Amanda Palmer. I found her topic was quite interesting, so I'd like to share it with you today. Basically, firstly, she talks about being seen versus being looked at. So she said as a child, she'd always like to be the center of attention, and that when sometimes it would make wonderful things happen, like when she would invite all of the neighborhood kids over to reenact this play, and she would be the main character. And also terrible things, like when in school she got sent to the principal's office for wearing different clothes that wasn't on the dress code. So she says then she found there was a difference between wanting to be seen versus being looked at. Because if you're looked at, then your eyes are you can keep your eyes closed and become you suck in energy and you steal the spotlight. It's because you can remain oblivious to everyone else, and it's more passive and objectifying because people see you but there's no connection. It's like an exhibit in a museum. So, but when you're seen, you have to keep your eyes open and aware of your surroundings, and you see and recognize everyone who sees you too, and you accept and generate energy. So then there's connection and also mutual presence and trust there. So she says that not everyone wants to be looked at, but everyone wants to be seen and understood. So second is accepting help. So many people won't accept help because they're afraid of what others think. So when she was younger, she had this thing, she had as everyone does, imposter syndrome sometimes, where she feels she doesn't fit in, because, and she called it the fraud police, where she just she didn't feel she fit in and was good enough as everyone else. So sometimes she was and basically one of her friends who was also a musician, she didn't follow the usual industry tracks, and she started her own Patreon, and whenever she released music, people could go onto the internet and pay her directly from there. And her friend, she was scared to post pictures of her on holiday, and because she was afraid of what her fans would think if she was just using all the money they paid her to go on holiday instead of making music. But then the speaker told her about a story about this man who actually became quite famous because he abandoned his previous life to go live alongside nature in a small hut and by a river. But what the man didn't tell everyone else was that the land was actually borrowed from a rich friend, and that his mom would send him donuts every week, and loads of people would start calling him a fraud and a fake, because apparently eating donuts isn't, well, being in nature and living a simplistic life isn't what most of them imagined. But then she then the speaker's friend, she was oh, I understand now, the donuts are me being on holiday and stuff. And that the speaker told her to just take the donuts, because just accept help and don't be afraid to accept help in whatever form it's appearing, because she shouldn't be ashamed to just accept the money from the fans and just use it to go on holiday as well, because she should enjoy herself and get inspiration from that as well to make even better music. And she said you shouldn't be ashamed to accept help, and that some are unwilling to accept help because they don't want to look weak and they don't want to be seen as incapable of doing anything themselves. But if you accept help, it's good for the giver as well, because then they feel that it's actually a trade-off, it's a two-way transaction as well. And the taking is not difficult because everyone wants to get more stuff, obviously, but it's mainly just the fear of what others are going to say to your actions. Thirdly is vulnerability of asking. So many people are really scared or like asking and afraid of asking because they're afraid of being rejected, as they associate that with failure. And but like you should be like confident while seeking approval. Like basically she had an example of her mom when like her mom was like a computer scientist, like in like 19 something, when like women weren't like really working much. And so her mom was like one of the only two women in the company at the time, and the boss he would always like give the men the paycheck first and delay the women's ones for like months. But like eventually one day her mom just like called the boss and she asked him like, what are you having for dinner today? And the boss was like, what? And then she said, yeah, what are you having for dinner? Because we don't have anything to eat because you won't give me my paycheck. So if you don't give it to me now, I'm bringing my children and we're all coming over to your house. So then she ended up getting the paycheck like the next day, and the boss always paid hers on time too, which showed that like once if you have real determination to ask, because she pictured what would like happen if like she actually asked, then her children and her would all have like really nice food to eat. So she decided, she managed to get the confidence to ask because she believed in it, so she was able to do it. And also another example was like when the speaker was she used to be a street performer. She said it was like a really good experience and all musicians should try it, because after she started street performing, then everything else became a lot easier, because when you're on the street there's no stage, so you don't feel as tight, like a sense of entitlement, and no one else is like looking at you while you're performing. So there's like billions of people passing by you every single day, and she ended up feeling like stronger from that because she didn't let what other people think affect her that much. And if she spent all her energy getting angry at the thousands of people who didn't stop, then she couldn't put like all of her like focus into playing well and doing her job to attract the one person who would stop. So she says that even when she's like giving speeches and stuff and playing for band, it's much easier because she doesn't actually have to convince people to sit down, so she already has an audience. And basically just don't focus on people who dislike you, and like don't be afraid to ask for help, even like because even like and like try and like not have like the fear of rejection. So in conclusion, I think the main points to take away are that not everyone wants to be like looked at, but everyone wants to be like seen, because we all want that trust and like mutual presence and connection with others, and to feel understood. Like secondly is just to like don't be afraid to accept help in whatever form it's appearing. Like just like take the donuts when you're offered them, because it benefits both people, because the other people will also feel like they're worth something too. Because also like imagine if you have everything in the world but nobody to give it to or help, then you'd feel bad as well. And like lastly, just to like try and overcome the fear of rejection and have that determination to actually ask. Thanks for listening. I hope you learned something today. Bye.